Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here on another edition on the Pan African Daily TV with the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise is our Queen, Cheryl Moses, who is here to tell us how your wealth is your health, and your health is your wealth. I mean, you just saw the press release that I sent this afternoon or this evening when I got to discover what this queen has. We've been talking about building wealth, or how we can refurbish Africa for the Africa that we want, how the voices of Africans worldwide can contribute to the development of ourselves as African people on the planet, but also on connecting ourselves to motherland. But we never thought about food or our health to be, to come as a process of what we eat. All we've been talking about is how we have to develop the agricultural sector. We know already that, we don't have to go to the GMOs, we have to go to the organic, farming and production and consumption. We have to go back to nature to connect to our spirituality and all that. But honestly speaking, I've never thought about it. I just knew that people go through dieting and some kind of stuff to live a healthier lifestyle. But when I met Queen Cheryl, what she told me in just about 20, 30 minutes, hey, I was blown up. And I say, you know what? I can keep this. I can keep this knowledge to myself. I can't keep it. How come that we have queens out there doing such extraordinary things and nobody's talking about it? Anyway, I'm not talking about nobody talking about it, because Queen Cheryl Moses is not just nobody talking about it. I mean, those who know it. But some of us who didn't know it. And that's the challenge of today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to introduce to you our August guest. We are in December, but we're having August guests. Our surprise for today, Miss Cheryl Moses, who is going to educate us and inform us to say food is not just how it tastes. It's not just the decoration, how it looks good. And she made a quotation. I just forgot it. I even wanted to make it into a topic, but I'm so happy that she's here. She's going to tell us everything, because that's her show. I want to thank all of you that tuned in yesterday for the conversation. I mean, it was just booming, and I keep getting all these feedbacks today. How that topic of yesterday, how we should just unite, love ourselves, and just not worry too much and just let the pain go. So, joining us tonight is another topic in spirituality, but how do we connect? How healthy should we live? Maybe we were looking for a solution yesterday on how we just let the pain go, but we didn't even know that the secret is in what we eat. Because what I learned from Queen Cheryl is that even our mentality, what we think, is determined by what we eat. Come on, give me a break. I've never heard that. And I begin to say, so we Black people, or they say our mindset, or we're brainwashed, or we still chased by our past of colonialism and slavery and whatever. But we never thought that food, even the food that we eat, is just one of the passiva, that goes alongside. That's the toxic, of course, what we eat. And you know what? We eat poorly, and then we go to the gym. Like, what is even so crazy these days? We eat so poor, and then we take tablets. We take another kind of concoction. Like you eat poison, and then you take another poison to fight out the poison. Wow, this is just not happening in our time. But I thank our ancestors, honestly, for always giving us, when we're about to just do some mistakes, they're going to say, no, 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 that's not the right way. They will give us the right people to put us on the trail.
That's right.
And our Queen Cheryl is here exactly to stop that thinking in our small heads that, oh, even talking about the vaccines, like we're saying, we're just scared. Oh, we don't want to take vaccines. But you know what? What is even more dangerous than those vaccines is what we eat every day, people. Can you imagine? I cannot be so excited, and I know all of you and those of you watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, and all our platforms. You're just as eager to listen, to get education, to get information, and to blow your mind, just like I was a couple of minutes ago. But then I want to correct something before I go over to our guest, because that's her show. It's not our own, isn't it? So I will not even tell you who she is, what she's been doing. All right. The only thing that maybe I can gist a little bit is that she's an author of a book, of an extraordinary book. Yeah, not just any kind of book on Amazon. She didn't even want me to talk about that book. You imagine it? I'm just kind of like whisper because she's here. I can't hide it. I cannot hide this. She will have to tell us how to get that book, because
I'll
that's
have
the
to tell you.
secret, you know. And a lot of people, when I shared her post, and they were like, wow, she is like, but she's right here in the studio. Don't mind, because she's a job, and but that's her. That's her. That's Cheryl Moses that you saw on the flyer, looking so cute, beautiful, and so natural and organic. Just because of what? Probably because what she's eating. And she's going to tell us today. A lot of people got a wrong flyer thinking it was Maponga Joshua today. I don't know what Naisha thought of just setting a post and then putting another image. Anyway, but you saw it in the main press release that, we had a queen today. And tomorrow we're going to have another big boss. But let's get into the conversation to today. Make yourself comfortable, relax, get a bottle of water. We crack 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, one never knows, depending on who is sitting here in front of us. And the way I see her, she carry fire. Abby, no be so. So let's welcome Queen Cheryl. How you doing today, my queen?
I am well, thank you. Greetings and blessings to all.
Wow.
Oh, I'm so excited. That was such an intro there. I don't even know where to start. Oh my goodness. I don't know where to start. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started. Um, I've been in food, around food, as most, we learn from our mothers my whole life, but my career, I started out as a hospital food service specialist in the Army, U.S. Army. I
Mm,
learned 750 diets there. So if we were ever out in the field or somewhere in a field hospital, that we can cook up anything for whatever is needed there. Um, and then from there, I when I left the military, I didn't retire. I left the military, and then I started into hospital. I was a hospital food service director, and so it was always around nutrition. It was always geared around to heal when you are not well. So you learn a lot, and then you learn about the connection of food with people. Um, People, we use food. We celebrate around food. We heal with food. We give food as love, as a love offering. It's everything, and it's central to our lives. But too much food, too much, and the wrong types of food are not good for us. So, but from there, I went on and I learned. I always had an interest in herbal remedies. I had a neighbor that always, I got something I can fix up for you when we had a little cough or a tingle. It was old, and she was everybody's grandmother. And so she taught a lot. She taught a lot. I learned a lot from her. And then eventually I went on to start to study on my own, and then I found a course through integrative nutrition out of New York City. It taught about the 360 of food, food, diets, and our spirituality, everything, how everything is connected, our environment, how everything is connected.
mhm,
Um, it wasn't until really I went and I made my decision to move to Africa. I'm moving to Kenya in 2021. And so I did a visit last year. Last year. And everything changed for me. I knew that that's where I needed to be and
mhm,
practice. Um, but before that, I was a coach. I became a certified holistic health coach, and I was excited with all of this knowledge, and I wanted to help people, find their path with food, because food is not cookie cutter. These diets are cookie cutter. They're just a overall thing for everybody.
mhm.
We are not everybody. We're individuals, and everybody's needs and requirements are totally different. So my approach was trying to customize for each person. You tell me, what are your stressors? You tell me what triggers you to eat. What's your work like? What's your family like? Like, and then we customize things for you. Instead of like, oh, I'm just gonna be. I think I want to try vegan. Oh, I'm gonna do vegetarian. Are you ready for that? That's like deciding. Oh, oh, we're moving to Africa. You ready? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? You have to prepare. You have to prepare your mind, your body, and your spirit. It's all tied in. It's wellness 360. That's what I call it. So you can get your healthy glow. Um, it's more than just, the diet. Everybody's talking at you. I know, I'm a student. I'm a student of Dr. Sebi, but it's not for everybody. The African diet, I'm all about the African diet because I always told my friend, I was like, we need to go back to eating our DNA. We are eating everybody else's diet, but we're not eating our DNA.
Hmm.
We don't have anything that's packaged. Um, all that sugar's not in the mainstay diet of our ancestors.
Mhm.
Um, they had sugar cane or they had dates, bananas, they ate fruits and vegetables, greens, and meat was reserved for special occasions.
Correct.
So, um, this year for me has been this awakening, this discovery. As we learn about our ancestors, and we learn about what they ate, how they lived, what nourished, what can I say, motivated their souls, for their people, but also they didn't have the distractions that we have in modern day. So, I can't hear you. Do you sound?
No, I hear.
Do you hear? Oh, but it's a lot. I know that was a lot, but that's where I am. Um, a lot of times we are, like you said, pills. I'm no pills, powders, and potions, but I will do herbs, tonics. Um, you can't say anything about the COVID piece, but I'll tell you that who won't be getting the shot because we don't need the shot. If
Mhm.
you're apparently this particular virus does not care for an alkaline environment. So what are you taking? So you're gonna do like a ginger, maybe sea moss,
Mhm.
black seed oil, and oil of oregano. I give that to my mother every morning, and I add a little hot water to it, and we take it to the head. So any of that bacteria, that virus, when we go out, we're not worried about that, but we're not gathering either. So, but other than that, when I go back to DNA, eat your DNA. Our diets, we've gotten so far removed from eating the basics, back to the basics.
Mhm.
Um, about eating leafy greens. Leafy greens is what we ate: yams, potatoes, anything that we grow in the earth, carrots, um, lettuce. When I was in Kenya, it's this plant that's called, I think it's diamani, and it was so thick. It's like it's a cross between a collard and a spinach, and the juice is so thick. So I was watching the ladies in the village, and they had three different types of these greens, and they were just shredding it up like that, and then they would just kind of like steam it, and it
Mhm.
was so hearty. I said, "Oh, look at this! Would be great juice with a little sea moss and a little banana in it, and this would make a great breakfast drink because once you do that, you don't need anything else. You have all your vitamins there. Everything is there. So we just go back to the basics. Go back to the basics on things, and that's why I recommend to a lot of people instead of telling them, well, you know what, you need to eat this. Um, the oils that are available. My discovery, I'm just kind of talking and things random here, but my discovery of red palm oil,
Yes.
from from east West Africa, where it originated from, not the
Mhm.
Malaysian, where they're tearing down all these trees. These are women in these forests in Sierra Leone that protect the these trees where the red palm oil is harvested from. And but did you know that that red palm oil has four types of vitamin E? I'm rubbing that in my face every night.
What?
Because they say that it lightens, and it does lighten. Like I never had acne before until we start doing the menopausal thing, and then you have to change your diet, and that's a whole nother show too. But and I started getting acne, and I was, all the creams and all that. Nope. All these spots have started to lighten just here. I rub it in my face. I wash my face accordingly, and then I put that in my face as well. That and neem oil, neem butter, I'm putting in. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your face. You shouldn't be putting it on your body, with the exception of what we call black soap, with the exception of
Mhm.
black soap. But edible edible cosmetics and anything that you can eat, then you should be able to adorn your skin with, because that's what our ancestors did. That's what they did. um what else? Oh, we talked about we talked about when we were talking this morning, I said, this is the line: until you figure out what's eating you, you won't understand why you eat.
Mhm.
So like our schedules are so busy. We are so we are pulled in many directions. If we're women, we're already in that role: mother, wife, sister, aunt. We are the leadership at work. We are stressed. Um, if we don't address, and we have to have some centering, and grind and grounding. So you start getting into the spirituality, that meditation, that prayer, that quiet time to check in with you. You need to feed that part of your soul. Other than just the food, that's part of the nourishing process as well. The and that also that whole thing ties in with the ancestors and the diet and stuff. We're being pulled in so many different directions that we can't hear our calling. We can't hear because we're so distracted. We can't eat right because we're so distracted, and we're trying to eat whatever's quick, whatever's quick. We're just putting everything into us, and we're growing, we're growing this way, and also our minds are cluttered. We can't we can't process. We got so much that's going on, we can't process. So
Mhm.
everything needs to go on a reset. Not so much as a diet, there's detoxing, but there has to be a reset. And moving forward, this time of year, we're coming to the end of this year. This year, this year, we uh, we need a big reset, but not because it's coming to the end of the year. It's time. It's time to reconnect with self, um, with our creator, and then, not to offend. It's whatever you want to put in that box, whatever feeds your soul. But you got to get quiet to get there so you can listen, not just talking and asking, praying. You got to get quiet and center and listen so that you can be fed that way. That's
Mhm.
my take on it. That's the spiritual part. Now the food part, yeah, fresh is best. Fresh is best. And let's not cook it all the way down till it just has no life in it. It has no, you can't even identify with the real color of what it was. Don't cook it all the way down. we need we need some of those nutrients. We need some nutrients. But if in the States, I know you're in Germany, so they have high standards when it comes to like the food products and organics there, more so than what we have in the States here. But in Africa, in some parts of Africa, I don't even think they talk about organics or anything like that, because They don't spray anything on the plants. They don't spray anything on the plants. You see what that cow is eating? Those are the same greens that you're going to eat too at night. So when I was in Kenya, I was in the village. I mean, I was watching, she would go in the field, shoo him away. Then she would go ahead and still get those greens there, or if she didn't have enough from market. So, okay. So when she went to get the milk for the coffee, she got the milk. I don't drink milk in the States. I don't know what they do to the milk. I stopped drinking milk years ago because we don't need another mammal's milk. But I like milk in my little coffee. I had to drink Kenyan coffee. Guilty.
Mhm.
But when she put that milk there, I had no bubbling, no nothing, no pushback, no extra, like we couldn't digest, because that milk was pure. That animal ate those greens and there was nothing else added to it. What are we told? We cannot eat raw. We cannot have unpasteurized milk, this, that, and the other. Nobody else has problems with that. Only because our food has been doctored. Our food has been, I call it Franken food in some aspects, because it doesn't even resemble food anymore. They have to make it and add colors and the shape to it to make it look like something that we're supposed to be eating.
Mhm.
So, but do you have any questions for me? I don't want to just keep rambling on. Tell me, what do you have for me?
I mean, we would have a lot of questions. I can guarantee you. We're gonna
Okay.
open the lines after the 1 hour, 30 minutes of the conversation with my own questions first, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
audience, we're gonna open the lines for people to call and ask direct questions. But you can already see in the chat, rolling in
Yeah.
front of you, people already asking questions, like and so some of the questions, while educating us, you can already just answer them. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but what you are saying, I mean, if I want to take like the points that you started, working in the U.S. Army, and with 750 diet.
Yes.
Is that correct? What I heard?
That is correct. You
Correct.
learn 750 diets for any type of ailment or injury that was occurred out in the field, so that you will know how to feed them back to health.
Hmm. Okay. So I'm very pretty sure the issues like allergies or stuff like that could have
Yes.
been like patients with, or blood pressures or stuff like that. Do you know that the first time that I heard anything about, oh, you can't eat this or that because, or you might have an allergic reaction, is when I came to the diaspora. Because on the
Yes.
continent, there's some vocabularies like you're saying in Kenya, we never know about them.
Yes.
And then the tubers we eat them first raw, and then the cooked form, and then the every type of form that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but why is the West just so malicious and keep putting Africa in a broken knee? And just even by saying hunger is a problem. Not even what we feed. Like you were in the village. I grew up in the village. We actually pull out that milk that you're saying. And it's different. It's absolutely
Warm.
different. Everything in the West just looks like, even the tomatoes. When I saw tomatoes here, and I thought that they were ripe because it's just always red. When I saw oranges, I thought, but oranges here, they never just grow green and then get to the yellow. They just always yellow. On the continent, we have greens, and then you begin to see even the tomatoes are always green, and then you see this process that it gets to, yellow and then red. Then you know it's ripe and eatable. Now,
Right.
why, in your opinion, do you really just think that this kind of a world is just doing everything to take out the real values of Africa and just blacklist it, or whitelist it?
Well, that can take us all the way back to, like, they didn't want us to eat our own foods. As slaves, that we were, all that was taken away from us. But as now, when you come to the U.S., the food has to be pretty.
Mhm.
People won't eat. They will not eat. Um, green tomatoes are not good. In the South, they eat fried green tomatoes because they it is like a delicacy. But their tomatoes, uh, are, I didn't see that many red tomatoes in when I was in Kenya. I saw different shapes and different types, striped, different kinds. I was like, so what is this? She said, oh, it's just a tomato. So I was tasting as I go to the, the village and I go to the markets. I want to see what's this, and I asked to taste. But in the West is just trying to adopt anything for marketing. And they don't really care about the food as long as they can mass produce it and they want it fast.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Things have to be pretty. I know a young lady has made a business out of buying the ugly fruit. I think her website is Ugly Fruit and Ugly Fruits and Vegetables. They don't like them on their displays in the supermarkets. So she buys all the fruit that looks like, it doesn't look, it's not perfectly round. She takes it and she sells that fruit again, at a premium price because that whole mentality. I want to eat what I see on television. I want to eat that pretty plate. Everything has to be pretty. It may be pretty, but it may not be good for you. It
Mhm.
may not be good for you. That's just my opinion because there are so many restaurants. People are just like, it's so much variety. And that's great. But
Mhm.
this pandemic has been the equalizer. All the little places, the little specialty places, they cannot survive and they're
Mhm.
gone. The big places, there's always a line around. We have the Chick-fil-A here. There's a chicken, all they serve are these little chicken sandwiches, a line around it all day, every day. And it's $1 million stores. These stores make $1 million a month in chicken sandwiches. Uh, McDonald's, all the fast food places, lines around them. People are there. Anything carry out, fast food carry out, still making money in the pandemic. People are refusing to learn how to cook. Some people are learning how to cook because they don't have that extra money to be buying all of this and that. And the meal service looks like it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So you can buy these pretty packages with the pretty food in, and they'll show you how to make it and make it look like the picture. Oh, how come you can learn to do it yourself? You can do it yourself. I can show you how to do it yourself. Cheaper. It's cheaper. Um,
Hey, Queen Cheryl,
yes,
when you were, it's even not just that, everything combined with not only eating bad, cooking bad, thinking bad, but even it becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a lifestyle. When you ask for a date, they take you out for a restaurant, and like back at home or on the continent, they will cook for you. You were in
yes,
Kenya and you saw it. The pride of the woman, of the mother, is just to cook. If your husband will eat your food, and particularly those that are living in the polygamy, every woman wants to cook the best food. And so the
absolutely.
place of the woman is not just like, oh, always being in the kitchen. What they always demystify and take every potential and value that we have and make everything wrong out of it. But I mean, like that essence of just cooking and serving somebody. And then the contrary, this generation, like you say, during this pandemic, people are refusing just to learn even how to cook. And you see even the ones that have the means, that's just the craziest thing. They will take you out for restaurants to eat some caviar. Now, what kind
Yeah.
of lifestyle is that?
Well, it's a fast lifestyle. I was so busy building my career. I was so busy. I was school. I just never had time to learn. Here, they took cooking and well, home economics out of schools where it wasn't just young women learning how to cook. It was young women and young men learn how to, maintain a house, but learn how to take care of yourself. I think
Mhm.
we have a whole generation that doesn't know how to cook for themselves or to care for themselves. And on a personal level, and it is sad, but they're smart. They can tell me about a TikTok video. They can tell me about YouTube, Facebook it down, live. Look at me, I'm live. Woo! But you know what? But you can't tell me how just to make some stir fry vegetables, with a little protein. If you're gonna use, if you use tofu or seitan, or even if you use a grass fed meat product, you know, but they can't do basics. My friend, I have a friend in California. She's teaching those classes at $250 a head. She's teaching them how to cook basics, do laundry, balance checkbooks,
Mhm.
how to pay bills on time. And if when you pay online, keep the balance, even though you don't have any more money, but it says that you can still PayPal, you have to teach those things. It's just, again, getting back to the basics. We're so busy. We're so busy. We're chasing. What are we chasing? What are we chasing? What are we doing? Um, it's not just women that need to learn how to cook. Men need to learn how to cook. Learn to cook together. Um, what are you bringing to the table other than, what are you doing? So it's a way to bring us together, even if you're these are non-traditional, but even if you go back to tradition, like you were talking about the pride of the women that were cooking. I had some chicken. That's the I had kukuchoma. I had
Mhm.
kuku. Oh, oi. It was so good. She cooked it with coconut milk and lemongrass. Oh, my goodness. With that rice. And I had ugali. Oh. So it was so good. I'm sorry. If folks don't know what that is, you got to come to Kenya. You got to come to Kenya. Maybe not just Kenya, but you got to come home. You got to come home to Africa and taste some real food, real authentic food
That's
that
correct.
doesn't have things in it. Oh my goodness. It makes me happy to talk about it. Oh my goodness. I remember my trip is just flooding back to me now. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, yes, ma'am. How can I help? How may I help?
I'm just laughing because I begin to think now, like, what kind of technology we're going to use again to just cook food online here and share here.
Oh,
Because you're talking and everybody's just like, this would have been a cook show, and where we invite everybody to just set the table, while we're talking and doing this. But that's gonna happen. So
it's
anytime
gonna
now,
happen. It's gonna
yes,
happen. We're gonna do that in 2021, but we may be doing it from the Gambia or
yes.
Kenya in Mombasa. So I plan on being in both locations. Our friends have invited me, come, we need your help to do this. I want you to help start. So it's partnerships. And that's another part we can talk about too, of partnerships with people who have existing business and that juicing or smoothie, and they want that wellness piece added. And so I want to help them, get that started with the things that you have available locally. So we're, a couple of projects there. And I heard a call from Tanzania, or they call it Tanzania. I have to learn how say these things properly. So anyhow, yes, ma'am. How may I help you?
Yes. Um, if we look at the process of even preparing the food to keep it healthy, I think you said something. It's not just for women. Of course, it's not just for women. I know that the best food that we all I grew up eating was when my father cooked, and even in Germany. I don't know why it always is a mistake that all women are in the kitchen, but if you go to all restaurants, I think 80% are being run by men cooks. So actually, but the difference is, like me, when I cook before, I used to put a lot of little pieces, and then it becomes maybe too much for the taste. But the men,
Mm,
when they cook, they use very little ingredients or a lot, and it tastes wonderful. Exactly the village kitchen, because not too much I don't know, spices or spicy, of course,
spices.
but too much at the same time makes it just wonderful. The taste is simple and just good, and you can taste everything. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
You're correct. Because I saw very little seasoning there, and I was always reaching for the salt. And they have iodized salt, which is, I call it washed salt. If you're
Mhm.
going to use salt, make everything. I tell people, my clients, everything that you put in your mouth, make it count. If you're gonna eat, make sure that it's nutrient dense. So if you're gonna eat, you're gonna season, then use sea salt. You want flavor to that sea salt, there's smoked sea salt.
Mm.
Put that in, and that changes the flavor of everything. Um, there's not a lot of spices. There's spices there. My friend, he asked me about fefe, and fefe is wild pepper. It's wild
Mhm.
black pepper out of Sierra Leone. He says, "You think people would be interested in it?" I said, "Well, first of all, I need a sample, and then so I can, yes, I can taste these things, and I can give you a better assessment." But yeah, like there's different types of pepper that will change your profile of your food. So less is more, but in certain cases to bring out the flavors and to accentuate the taste and the nutrients.
Mhm.
You know, this is a nutrient, this has benefits, and when you put those together, so let's have something that's nutrient dense, that feeds us, really feeds us, and a little goes a long way. A little goes a long way.
Mhm.
So, you know, portion control, that's a whole nother thing. It's not, you have, just because it's low calorie doesn't mean we need to eat this much. We need enough to feed us.
Mhm.
Eat to live, not live to eat.
Of course. We want to see your comments on the chat, how well you can cook. Just drop a comment on the chat, because when we open the lines, we want to hear a lot of men give us some recipes out there. What has been working in their homes? What has been actually the charms that they, I mean, you do a lot of tricks,
Oh yeah.
you do a lot of tricks. We want to share this impression, not just this inspiration, because we are on the week. Remember, this month is a month to connect spiritually through food, through thinking, through our soul. We just on soul to
Yes.
soul, trying to manage whatever thing. Because, like Queen Cheryl is saying, we have to go back to the basics. Now, Queen, I come to you. Why? Was it a mistake in any time in life that they always said, even some very gourmet kitchens and cuisines, they always like, eat like my grandmother's food?
So I don't understand. You said that I'm sorry,
Like,
you said
most of the recipes or name uh, cooks or restaurants, they always refer to like grandmother's recipe or grandmother's sauce or grandmother's, so that's the basics that you're talking about, right?
hmm Yeah. See, grandma cooked. She cooked from scratch.
Yeah.
She didn't have this batter that was already made, and all she had to do was add water to it. No, she put all the baking soda, the baking powder, all that in those ingredients to make those biscuits, to make that bread. She didn't have a mix already. She didn't have a when she would get that chicken. I know my grandmother, they had chickens, and I do remember her getting a chicken out the yard, wringing its neck. It was traumatic. I was like, "What is going on?" We were just playing with the chicken, and now we're eating it. We're getting ready to eat this chicken. She dips him in that hot water and finish plucking all that off. People used to prepare their food, and they said grandma's way was it's from scratch. Now,
Mhm.
each process is measured, each item is measured, and she trims that fat if she wanted to have that extra fat on that, or the way she prepared the chicken before she put it in the oven, or that fish. She prepared the fish, or when we had crabs when I was little, grandma would she'd be out there just she'd take them, dip them in hot water. You just like but it's the method. It's the method how things were done because things were simpler and they didn't have so much process. They didn't have process and they didn't refrigerate eggs. Eggs were set at room temperature. I know a lot of people don't, some people don't eat eggs. Um, but whatever is in available to you to nurture you in your diet.
Mhm.
Um, I see some people talking, I see a gentleman here talking about black seed oil.
Mhm.
Um, Black seed oil is if anybody knows about black seed oil, Prophet Muhammad says that black seed oil should be able to cure everything except death.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I when I heard that, I was like, I must try this and find out what is this about. And I found a source for probably the purest and the strongest black seed oil is out of Ethiopia. So I'm
Mhm.
talking with the young lady now to see if we can get some shipped but we can do some import export to the States, and then also into Kenya and to Gambia and Senegal.
Mhm.
Um, it's a these superfoods, they, they're normal things for folks on the continent, but for everybody else, when they hear them, they are superfoods because they can do so much. They are medicine. It's medicine. So anyway, I digress. How can I help?
No, you're not digressing. Please don't keep anything within you. Queen,
Oh,
you're just here to give us everything. Yeah, you talked about this superfood. But that brings me to the point that you made a point here that food is healing, it is love. We use it for celebrations and stuff like that. I want to pick up that point.
okay.
Um, because if we use grinding machines, processing instrument, where is the spiritual connection? I mean, like food is part of us, like grains are nature, and we connected. We just one in other forms, right? And so, but if we are buying, even just buying something that you don't even know who cooked it, what is even inside? How dangerous is that psychologically, spiritually, in how love connects?
You're not you're consuming. You're not eating. You're just eating to eat. When you eat greens, plants, plant-based food and everything, you're eating live food. So
Mhm.
one of the gentlemen, one of the folks online here is like, you don't cook the food to death, the African style, don't cook it to death. I saw that over there. And and that person is absolutely correct. We just need a light steaming just to heat up the food just enough, across our palate. I was raw vegan for about a year, and it was fine, but it became hard to maintain. So, because as my schedule changed, and I was an overseas contractor, I was a food service management in Iraq, Afghanistan, Antarctica, just a lot of places, and in Haiti. So, but when we eat plant-based foods, it's live. When we drink juices, when we juice greens, we're
Mhm.
drinking live food. Like some people, like when you start talking to raw foodists, they are purists. They're food purists. They don't want anything heated up over, I think it's 113. They don't want anything over 113 degrees because it starts to break down the nutrients in that food. So even if you have to cook your food a little bit, the greener it is, the better it is for you, until you can make that leap into go raw vegan or raw vegetarian or what have you. But we need the connection is that food is live. And just like I think I touched on a little bit before about grounding yourself, is take your shoes off and go and stand in the dirt. I was in the dirt in the village. I was in the dirt. So you have to, so you can make that connection to the earth.
Mhm.
Um, it's important. It's important in our food that we eat live, at least once a day. You have a salad or something that's raw, have a complete salad that has like a little bit of everything in it. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to have meat. It has carrots, it has beets, it has three different types of lettuces. We have some, that I know people come for me, they'll broccoli. You have to have some vegetables in there that will sustain you. So you have to learn about the values of all the things that are in your bowl. Um, Live foods, when you go that route, you need less sleep when you eat plant-based, and the rawer it is, that energy from the food. You're feeding this miracle. This is a miracle here.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it is complex. And if you're a woman, it's uber complex. And our body changes when we prepare for a child, to prepare to be a woman, as a woman, in the stages that our body gets prepared for childbearing years and for childbirth. Even after that, the hormone balance, the things that happen with us, our hormones are out of whack and out of balance from the stress and from the
Mhm.
food. all the things that are added in these foods affect our our miracle. It affects our miracle through and through. So, but yes, go back. The less you cook it, the more alive it is, the better you feel.
Yeah, because I keep wondering. I grew up eating sweet potatoes raw. I mean, but it becomes a taboo for some people even just to try it. Sweet potatoes, and not the Irish type of potatoes, the bigger ones. They're in purple, they're in yellow, they're white.
All kinds
On
of
the
colors.
continent, you have all the colors. You have even black ones, some that you don't see it, some of those tubers. And we ate it raw. But it was like part of it that we were. It's like corn or maize, they call it. You fry it and you mix it together like with peanuts. Oh my goodness, that kind of delicacy you would never find it here. You saw it on the continent, and people like they
Yes.
even carry it on the head and sell it in the daily markets on the street. Or like peanuts, granules, we ate it raw. I mean, there was never an instance where
Roasted.
you put the raw one, particularly the purple one, and the cooked one. Everybody goes for the raw. So you come into a system where everything is just changed, and you look at yourself, and that's exactly the point where they start thinking that you are primitive and they're more
Mhm.
civilized because they're doing things just to appease our attention. Now, when you look at the future, how does it look like when we don't go back to start living like that?
Um, we our future, our future is short because now we are dealing with high blood pressure, um, uh, uh, heart disease, um, Alzheimer's, dementia, and everybody. I know I'll hear some pushback for all these things. These things are not hereditary. These things are dietary. Because I'll give you an example. The high blood pressure. As soon as I turned 50, the first thing I went to the doctors because there's you go for that checkup, that 50-year checkup. So when
Mhm.
you go there, the first thing they looked at, oh, you're African American, you're a woman, you're at that age, and you're slightly overweight. So you have pre-hypertension, you could be pre-diabetic, and we want to do a colonoscopy. We want to see if you have colon polyps and whatnot like that. And instantly, you haven't asked me about how I sleep, my
Mhm.
history, am I stressed? What's going on with me? What's my lifestyle like? You haven't asked me a thing. You just went by some checklist so you could give me a pill for high blood pressure, so that you can give me some pre-treatment for diabetes that I don't have. That's what our future looks like. Because we're African American, we're African descent. And then we're there eating their diet and living their lifestyle that is not the lifestyle of I call it the lifestyle of our DNA. We are living their lifestyle. We're not living what we are destined to live. Like back in the village, like you're saying, you're in the village. I'm so thankful for my friend inviting me to stay with his family in the village because it was so real. It was so real, and that's the truth. That's the truth right there. That's the truth. So, but that's what our future looks like. It's full of, pills, hospital stays, and the breakdown of our bodies.
Hmm.
You can change, you can do a reset anytime when you decide to stop eating that and eat a cleaner, lighter, plant-based diet and a lifestyle. Not so much as the diet, the food portion that we need to nourish our bodies, but to change the lifestyle all the way around. You need that spirituality. You need that good base. You need good food, good water, good tea, um, good people around you, love
Hmm.
around you. It's big. It's big. It's important.
You're revealing some very truths here. Um, Let me go back to the point where you talked about our DNA. Absolutely correct.
Oops,
Because
sorry.
particularly of the migrant diaspora. The migrant diaspora, when you live in the West for a couple of maybe 10 years, and now you realize that you're not resistant to certain disease. Like if a mosquito would bite you when you go back to the continent, you could easily die.
Yeah.
But the ones on the continent, they still have this melanin in all this resistance. So, and you begin to wonder, what is it that just changed everything? And now you are you're really like you're just black anyway, and every other things. And it took me a while to figure it out that it's what we eat and drink.
It's what we eat, it's what we drink. And I'll say this, at night when I slept, it was so quiet. I had the best sleep ever when I was on the continent, and wake up rested, just rested. I guess it was I know people are like, "Oh, you're trying to glamorize it." I was home. I never felt so welcome in my life. I was not afraid. I felt safe. I felt safe. Um, Even when in Mombasa, we were there for a little while, and it was, at night they say you're not supposed to be out at night and everything. I was out at night and we saw people on the beach. Folks was waving. They're still trying to play football. There's out. There's like, where are you from? Everybody was trying to take a picture. I was like, okay, this is so. Again, it's this. It's. I felt happy. The food just tastes sweeter, better. I don't know, it's because of the his sisters prepared. And it was so happy, and we looked so much alike. Um, but it was so nice. Um, it was just so nice there just to be grounded. Oh, and somebody's telling me about it's Tanzania. They laugh out loud. We switched to the local pronunciation of Tanzania. Yes, I stand corrected. Blind guy, his wife, and their life. I stand corrected. Also.
Wow, I'm just laughing because the way you're describing it, and you would never see such things anywhere. There's
No,
nothing comparable. I begin to say, even when people say we should rebrand Africa, is because we're not. I say it's just not done. How do you want to rebrand it? It's so impossible to just describe. You have to be there. You have to stay there, and please don't stay in the cities. Just like you said, go to the village. That's where the truth is. That's where everything, the
it's
magic
the
is.
truth. It's the truth. So find you a village family, make friends. And if you have friends, go back to the village. It's okay. At first the squat thing was, it's tough on the knees, but I got it in the bucket. I got my own bucket, so I always travel with my own bucket now. So, but not all places. Some places do have, the, shower and the toilet and whatnot inside. I stayed at the village I was in Kalifi, that, I just went from one house to the next. And then I had to spend a night in a hotel because I was like, I have to sleep under a mosquito net that's complete, because they was just tearing me up at night. So that one night I just had to, I'm so sorry, I have to go. But it was nice. And then you live and learn. But at least they were so happy to have you in their home. I felt welcome. I really felt welcome. And I love the children. And the children were like so funny. So you're right. It's indescribable to go. I see a lot of people on YouTube, and they're talking about their adventures, and they sitting in this nice location, and no, you go sit in the real village. Go in the village and go to village market with the lady selling the bananas on the side of the road, that she's not giving you a discount because she knows that you're American. It's just, she wants you to buy the whole thing with your M-Pesa. She knows, the M-Pesa is just a wonderful thing. Anyhow, so yeah, what they call it, e-money. before anybody else, before this Apple money, this Apple Pay thing came on. It was been in Kenya for what I want to say a good 10 years now. They're so ahead of the curve. So Africa is ahead of the curve, but it's just, they want us to still be, these poor, dusty, hungry children living in the village. They have no food. They're going, I didn't see that. I didn't see that in the village. I didn't see that.
I read a documentary where one guy wrote and was like, oh, please don't. They should keep just saying that about Africa. They should even, unveil or unlock that real Africa. If not, no, they will chase us on the continent. And I kind of like agree. Like, yes, those that have known it, they want to keep others not from going there. So that's why they propagate. Of course, they make money out of it. And
Yes.
but the real thing, like they said, behind every dark lining, that's a gold. And we're the dark lining, and everything about us is gold. So that is it. If you don't want to, if you just want to be back to detox, or like we were saying yesterday about the vaccines and stuff like that, don't worry yourself, just go back to the continent. Like she was saying, they're gonna give you that thing. Even if you take it, you go back there, go
Yeah.
to the village. They're gonna
Go to the
detox it
village.
in just no time. No
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So, Queen, you talked about something. I just noted. I'm writing things that I want us to. All right, intercultural. The intercultural, like we're talking about Western Eurocentric everything. So food is just one of the things that we really inherited, and we're doing it happily, and keep on even multiplying the way we do it without knowing. You
well,
want
it's our whole thing about I know people they in America, they're now we're all trying to let's just don't talk about the slavery because it just happened so long ago and everything. It is there. It is there. um we took on your customs, we took on your language, your names, your food, what you gave us to eat, what we were allowed to eat, and we made things out of it. um I think that we're still trying to fit in. Let's just fit. Don't worry, don't talk about that. Let's just fit in and be together, you know and the same thing that comes back down to our spirituality again. um not let me do my little disclosure here, not to offend, but this is just how I feel. you know, I was one that we went to church and went to Bible study and everything. And then you look up on the wall and there's a white Jesus, but that's not what my father taught me and my mother taught us. That's not what we have at the house. That's not what we see. The kings of Africa and then all these stories, that these books. My mother made sure that we always had those books so that we could have a different take. But eventually, you go to the church and you hear the same thing, and you know that's not that's not our religion, that's not our spirituality. Ours was really taken from us, and then we were given that so that if we wanted to get along and not be an outsider, then this is what we had to accept, and we have adopted that, and it has not served us well. It is it's been used against us to take advantage of us, and almost like to, if they could, they would like skin us and wear our skin if they could. They're so busy trying to get this nose, get these full lips, get this kink in this hair, this round in this back, look at this melon. They just want it. They can't have it. They just can't have it. But 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 um it's important. It's again back to the basics, back to know who you are, center yourself, get quiet so you can hear your purpose. And you hear
Mhm.
your purpose, it, you know, I don't think people's paths cross for it just happened. It is what it's supposed to be. For me,
Mhm.
just to pop over and visit my friend, I just took a chance that he would be home, and he was so surprised. He's like, "Okay, I'm coming to Nairobi to get you." um, to come there and then to be there, and it changes you. I did get quiet. I meditated there and I was changed forever. Not because it was just a great vacation.
Mhm.
It changed my life. Um, I listened, I got quiet, and I heard what my purpose is. Could I stay here in the States and build probably $1 million business here? So much help is needed here, but folks don't want to listen. I mean, I had clients and I was telling them, I said, well, I need you to write down, what you're eating. And then we probably need to start with just drinking a little bit more. I don't like water. I can't drink this. I can't do. But you came to me for help. You came to me for help. And it kind of, and it wasn't just one, it was two, it was a couple like that. And I said, well, maybe I'm not presenting right. I wanted to help, but they don't really want to help. They want a pill. They want something fast. They want, they want a potion, and then they want something. They want it to be fast so they can see my before. Look at me now. I'm pull. I'm snatched, I think is what they call it. And it doesn't work like that.
Mm.
It doesn't work like that. All of that will come off when you center and ground yourself. And then the emphasis of food, you just eat to live. You don't live to eat, you just eat to live. You'll start eating the right things, the right portion, all of that, all of that. So,
I, I think because you said you don't want to offend somebody. No, you're not offending anybody. We're not apologizing on the Pan African Daily TV for saying that Jesus is not white. Just a point of correction. We all
okay,
know it. Everybody that is here knows it. It's a whole
okay.
family coming from so far. But the difference that we always make is now you talk. We're on the subject of food and our health. So, oh my goodness, we inherit a religion. We inherit a white Jesus. We inherit now GMOs. We inherit language. We inherit political systems. We inherited, I mean, we just inherited everything because we need to start calling them by names to be able to know we inherited educational systems. We inherited everything. Now, the difference is very clear. That is not your own. That is not our own. We are not saying that these systems are bad, but it's not our own.
It's not
White
our.
Jesus is for white people.
It's
Perfect.
true.
He made them in their image and they see their image is white. What has that got to do with my ancestors if he made me in their image and it's not black? What is it difficult to just understand some certain things? It is the white man's religion. Give it back to him. It is not your own. If it was your own, you would see it. But your
True.
own, they have made it even in that format, and you are the Satan in it. And look at how the Satan is so black, and everything that is black is that way. Why not? What is difficult, and why should I apologize to say no? There is a most high God, all of us know it, but he doesn't have a color if he has to even have one, not white. So it's not something like we need to apologize about stuff like this. We are on the Pan African Daily TV. We are the voices of Africans worldwide. And we
Ah,
bring solutions to our challenges from Africans to Africans, from us to us. So
yes.
there is nothing about, we're not demystifying and saying, no, God doesn't exist or he exists, but the one that I've been grown up to know is not just mine, not worked for me. But I appreciate and I respect those it worked for them, and we don't have
Correct.
anything with that. Just to get it clear, you know.
Correct.
And
Correct.
of course, we give also audience. Tomorrow we're going to have Reverend Philip Shock Matthews. He comes also from the background of Christian, I don't know, not Christianity, metaphysics, spirituality, but I think has also been a pastor or theologian. We have Maponga come here. They've been pastors. Kojo, all of them have been, and they combine both. And we're saying we tried one. Now let's try something after COVID, something that we never did.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. Now you're coming back to say, let's go back and eat our food, our tubers. And we have a variety of endless tubers. Why would I keep eating potatoes every day? Isn't that boring? Anything that we've been doing that is just repeating, let's just try something new. Nothing wrong in that. Queen Cheryl, please back me up here. We just wrong.
No, you're right. I mean, you don't have to eat the same thing every day. It's just that in this in the culture that we have and we've been given, it's like, well, we need variety. Well, you know what? Back in the day, folks ate what was available. What was
Oh,
available. So if you have different things that's available, okay, mix it up a little bit. But it's sometimes again, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I was like, I gotta try a little bit of everything. When you're here, you just, oh, I'm gonna eat. I don't care. I'm gonna have that pastry. I'm gonna do whatever, and your body will let you know that it's not what it needed, not what it wanted. But the variety, of course, we can add different things if as long as it's healthy. I'm not gonna sit here and say, you know what, I only eat the healthiest things in the world. But what I've learned how to do, the things that I really loved, so I learned how to make it raw. Like I
mhm.
make a raw cheesecake that's just, oh, it's a lovely thing made with Irish sea moss.
Okay. I see Kofi. I know that. Oh, I don't know. He's been kicked out. Kofi, I heard you asking more about who is our queen. We are on the topic knowledge and spirituality and healthier lifestyle through food, how we eat our food and how it affects us, our metabolism to our psyche, and even the way we think can also be as a sort of what we eat. Cheryl Moses is a certified holistic health coach, educator, and personal chef, specializing in plant based, raw, vegan, nutrition, and cuisine, and more. And so I know some of you that are joining in, we're talking about how we connect our food, and our food is part of our spirituality. And like we need to cook, we need to start going back to the way our parents, our grandmothers did. They put a lot of love in the food that they cook, and that's why we're looking strong and healthy. Until we started eating fast, we started acting fast, we started thinking fast, and that actually is breaking the connection between us. So uniting ourselves is not just a matter of us being united, but also being connected through what we eat. So, like, go back to what your ancestors ate. If they ate manna, like in the Bible, and so you have to be eating manna today. Yeah. So, and then the variety and the food, so different types of food that we have on the continent actually gives us um, a whole education and a whole possibility of how we can cook our own food, not putting too much of flavors into it, but of course keeping it so natural. So we're not going to get into, all type of these diseases that particularly as we're growing old. Yeah. So that's the conversation for today, and it's been quite interesting, and we learn a lot. Another one thing, Kofi, is that Queen Cheryl has worked in the military, the U.S. military, and has learned 750 different diets. And she's also been a hospital food director and worked with people customizing, the different types of food according to you. Like food cannot just be homogeneous, like everybody wants to eat rice. Not everybody, So those are the kind of information before you join us that we're talking about. And I just learned that she's been kicked out of the show. I can't find her here again. So I'll open up the lines in case of any questions, or you want to make a comment on the topic. You're welcome to call, and let's keep the conversation going. I hope she's going to join us here. All right, she's back. Hello.
Hello.
What happened?
I don't know. It kicked me out.
Oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. Some people are getting jealous. Every time they're just jealous that we're talking about nice things here. Anyway, I'm opening up the lines for people who have direct questions to you, and also they want to know something. But while we're waiting for the court to take the calls, I want to say something. You wrote a book.
I, my book is in pieces, but yes, by February I definitely want to have it gone to publishers. Why am I getting pink? Um,
Yeah, I also cannot hear you clearly. All right. Oh, okay. Okay. She's back.
there I am.
Yes, I hear you.
You can?
I hear you. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. Yeah, there.
Mhm.
It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. So the book. Okay, so um I've been writing on the book for like 3 years now. I tested about 200 recipes,
Hmm.
and I took pictures. So I did everything. I didn't do send it to the publisher, everything. I write my little foreword. I wrote um, where where I was when I came up with this recipe, how I felt. It's pretty much my journey when I became a coach, and then I learned to become a raw chef, and
Hmm.
I went to this course for about a month, and the reconnection with food and the processes and how to uh, sprout food, wheatgrass, grow your own, um, juicing, all of that. And I left that course. I had two clients that I was cooking, preparing for, family of four, and that experience, the experience that I shared with you about people like I don't want to drink any water, uh, that that whole how to start, how I started. I went did a juice fast for 60 days,
Hmm.
and okay, check that box. You can do it for a little while. Me, you can do it for a little while, but not that long because I just look like my big old head. It's just like a little bobblehead. It's not good, but I needed to do it. I can't tell you about it if I haven't tried it. I'm that person. I'm not going to tell you about a diet that I haven't tried. The raw food diet. I did that for 6 months. Um, Going out and still remaining raw. To be vegan um, and vegetarian, and to go out and I can certain things that are prepared are not vegan, are not vegetarian. Um, so all of those things I had to try myself, and I wrote out the experience. I also incorporated where I was in the journey where my body started to transition from the womanhood getting flashes. Why am I out of balance? Where is all this acne coming from? Why am I so angry? And what I was eating, I started tracking what I was eating and how I was feeling. It would probably be another book on women's health, just that part,
Oh,
um,
your
later
sound.
on as well.
There's
So,
just something wrong with that sound out there, Cheryl.
yes, ma'am.
Your sound is echoing.
Is
I
it
don't know
echoing?
what is just messing up with the sound.
Oh, I have two. Let me see if I can close this one.
Okay. Right, yeah. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the lines are open. Call in and tell us how we can help ourselves to eat healthy because food is our wealth. That's the currency of the next. If we have to be sure of staying alive longer than procrastinated by enemies of African people, we need to eat healthy. That's already 60% of being against all this all these issues out here. Good. I don't know what is happening to her microphone. Hmm.
Is that better?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had too many windows open.
Okay.
So the book, it's coming. It's coming. I just need to put it together. When I talked to you this morning, I was like, that's so funny. That's so funny because I had Queen Kwana tell me, she was like, oh, you haven't finished? Where are you with that book? I thought you're supposed to be, it's December. It's December. So thank you. Thank you. I know you're there. Thank you.
Okay. So, but what is the content going to be like? You said something in the beginning like, food has to be customized. Is there like, okay,
You
what kind of
what
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 kind
I
of
mean
food?
that needs to be customized. It's like you have to find out what your body needs.
Mm-hmm.
What are you eating now? What I would ask for clients is a food journal for at least a week. And then in that journal, you're not just listing what you eat and what time of the day you eat, but you're also listing how you felt. Were you
Mm-hmm.
just mindlessly eating the gummy bears? I love a gummy bear, but you know what? You can end up eating a whole bag, not realizing that, or you're snacking and not you're working and snacking, or if you're driving and snacking, you don't realize how much you're really eating. If you have children, you're cleaning up after your children because they left a little something on the plate. So once you put all that together, um, I take a look at it and see, and then how you're feeling, and then I ask how you're sleeping. What's your stress levels like at work? Um, what time do you eat? Why do you eat so late? I see here that you woke up and you had a little drink of water, but then you had a handful of chips. Or why did you feel? Were you hungry, or you were just out of habit? Are you eating because you're hungry or out of habit? So you put it all together, and then you ask them what their likes and dislikes are. What's available for you. Usually it's a shopping trip. That's why when people say they can do health coaching online, I was like, so when do you take them on shopping trip and show them how to shop? Because when I
Mm-hmm.
take people to shop to market, if they have supermarkets, we don't even go in the middle aisles. We're only in the produce section. We're only on the produce section on the outside. We're not inside shopping because all the stuff in the middle aisles are processed. So um so that's in there. You're just teaching what all the parts are and what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Um and talk to them. Why do you figure why now? What is bringing you here that you need? Not just because you need to lose weight for the summer or your vacation or this. You have to get to a point in your life where it's like, I need to reconnect with me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to take care of me. I need to feed me. And then we'll talk about those other things too, that the spiritual piece, how do you pray? Do you know how to meditate?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of exercise are you doing? How are you stretching your body? And for the record, everybody doesn't need to jump, dance, lift, flip tires, and all of that. We also talk about what's good exercise for you, and to incorporate movement. So um, it'll
Okay.
have a little bit of that, everything.
Good, good, good. Yes, I hear some people asking what's the phone number here. You can call using it's rolling on the text in case you don't get the figures. It's a +9 +49. I'm sorry, +49 because you can only call using the WhatsApp. When you use WhatsApp, then it comes easily, particularly if you're calling out of Germany. So it's +9 1578 211 2379. +9
Plus,
plus
plus.
491578211237 Yes. So, Colleen, Shana, I see you asking what is the phone number. We're waiting for your calls. Queen Sherry is here to take your calls and to answer your direct questions. And we've been hearing a lot on why we need to just go back to the way, we were, to what our ancestors were eating. So I get a first call coming in. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Yes. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I'm sorry yesterday your connection was just tripping, but today we're fine.
Yes, yes. I realized you were trying to do a lot of things at the same time. I was trying to share the screen and listen to you and call at the same time.
Okay.
But then the difference time is a bit big.
All right.
Yes.
So what did you
Talking
eat today? What did you cook?
I'm telling you. I was like, with this life, we have actually picked up some quick bread with some crowded butter and some chicken and some rice and some salad. And you go like, I really have to quick hurry up, finish eating, quick and go sit at the Pan-African radio at 8 o'clock. It's too much stress. We need time to eat, eh? Honestly, I agree with my sister, everything she says about eating, what your body needs, but do we really have time to eat? When do we make time to eat?
When do we make time to eat? Do we eat when we're hungry? We eat when we're hungry.
Yeah, that
We
is
we pray when we need to feed our soul.
all the time. What I wanted to contribute to it is I think, in as much as we talk about our eating habits and what we put, it's like what you eat is who you are. But I've experienced one thing in diaspora that really makes me a bit sad sometimes, because I think the African culture of eating is not about the food you eat, but with whom you eat.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean. It's very different to go to a restaurant and eat with a colleague, or come home and have food with your children and family and everything. The stories you talk about food. One thing I realized early time when I came to the Netherlands is like everybody has to eat dinner at 6 o'clock. If you're in a relationship and you're not at home at 6 o'clock, it's a problem. If you have an appointment with a friend for dinner, it must be at 6 o'clock. But you see, as African people, we meet, we are late, we start to cook. Maybe by the time we start to eat is 8, 9. But then I compare the two, you realize the joy with which you eat, the jokes you make when you eat, all those things around it, it's a very different way of eating. So I think, in as much as we talk about what we eat, when we eat, how we eat, whether sugar, whether McDonald's, or whether bad food, but I think it is important whom you eat with. That's all I want to say.
Wow.
I
I
agree.
know about that, Cheryl.
I agree. I totally agree. You know, food tastes better food tastes better when it's made with love, and food tastes better when you're sharing it with people that they are all happy. Everybody, have you noticed you never see sad faces around when you're sitting at a table and everybody's waiting to pass the dishes and whatnot? It's good company. Good company. You don't eat as much. You notice that you won't eat as much. You just eat just enough because like you said, you're sharing stories. You're talking. You're laughing. Oh, and that's enough because you need to get to the next portion, which is usually something sweet and the coffee.
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, I think so too, because I've done a lot about food, and we read in our cultural things, you're always trying. And I know it's now everybody is talking about healthy eating and all that. But the more we go deeper to it, I think there's a very part that is making us so selfish. Because I think the sharing, I still insist, how we share the food, and sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes it's not the most delicious, but the memories when you leave somebody's place, you had a dinner together and you're going home, you have energy, and maybe you didn't like it so much, but just the atmosphere around it is also very important. And another thing I also experienced, for example, young ladies, or rather a queen like you, you're coming from work, you have a dinner appointment, be it for work, be it because of social And then the person you go to sit down and eat with just takes so much energy out of you, however delicious the food is, however healthy the food is. My sister, you go home, you take a shower, it's like you never ate for 6 weeks. Just because while you are eating, the person next to you is taking the whole energy out of you. You cannot really. Imagine it's a date, you are lady, you come from work, you're meeting this guy, then you have this nice restaurant, you have this food, but the guy is just like too much. You are waiting to leave that restaurant and go home. Do you enjoy that food? Can you get healthy from it, by the
way? That's a good one, Cheryl.
True. It's true. Ready to leave.
Thank you very much, my sister. I don't want to miss the show. I go up watching, and I'm with you, still sharing, but that's all I wanted to contribute. Please, let's eat with the right people, okay?
Eat with the right people.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's our
Thank
first
you.
Yes.
Unless my sister wants to react to that, I just want to go and try to be sharing, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wow. That's a brother from Kenya, and he's a correspondent in the Netherlands on the Pan-African Daily TV.
Oh,
I mean,
very
I
nice.
think because he mentioned a lot about Kenya and stuff like that. But he said something, the collective way we Africans eat. And then from the diaspora, we've learned another way. Like in the Gambia or even on the continent, we eat in one bowl. And you see everybody eating, Ghana particularly, when we eat fufu and stuff like that. Okay, in modern times, they serve it and then each person can take. But really, even in Senegal culture, when they're eating, everybody's eating from the same bowl. That's a symbol of oneness in the family, and food, they respect it. Now, the second point here is how in the West, food is even treated with no respect. If you see the way people throw food, like someone could just order just because you have money and they just bite a piece and they throw the rest. I mean, how is that? Just waste.
Well, they have so much. It's excessive. And to his point about like how everyone gets together to eat. At one point in time, everybody comes back to the table to eat. We don't do that anymore because everybody's busy. They got 2-3 jobs they have to get to. They're out and about, and food is not important. Food is on the go. About the eating with the one plate, the one big at the big table, everybody's sitting down. And please remember to eat with your right hand and not reach for your left hand, because it means something in a different culture altogether. But the oneness is that's how you share food, and nobody's worried about. In the West, we worry about the sanitation and this and that and the excess of it. It's so informal. It's because they have no culture. They have no history. That's why everything is so formal on plates and with utensils and everything. We didn't have that. That's not what we come from. It's not that we can't, we weren't civilized or anything, but it's just this how we were communal. We're communal people. We're never separate or anything. All of this, I have to have my own. Families live in the village or they live together, communal. Whether you're in the village or not, people live on these compounds, and there are several generations within the compound. So it's communal in Africa. Even in the modern Africa, they're trying to be modern and live in their apartments and do all of this with their hair. No, they're adopting all these different things, but you still come back home and you eat with your friends. The young people still eat with their friends, and they still socialize in groups. Nobody's out. I didn't see women or men that weren't in groups. Nobody's out on their own.
Okay.
We're communal people.
All right. I'm taking this other call. Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. So I was calling in just regarding the entire conversation today because in our family, we are in the States. We are African American here, but raising my 3 daughters, I tend communal bowl. Like since they were younger, and even now, the oldest one is a teenager, they still oftentimes eat from the same bowl, the same container, me and my husband as well. And there is a sense of community there. And much like today's guest is saying, it brings about a different value to your food. It brings about a different experience, even when we're not all eating together at the same time. Even if there's just a communal bowl there, it just makes a difference. And I know for our family, we recently switched from being meat eaters and dairy and eggs to being whole food, plant-based, because it's just so important. Like when you are, for us, here in the States, I see people in the chat today, they were saying things like, oh, the fast food, the KFC, the this, the that, it's chemicals. And we didn't know that. Like, they present food as if it's fun. You see commercials for pizza and fries and tenders, and it's just fun. They don't ever talk about the nutritional value in the States. And so that's part of the mindset that we just live with. We just grow up with it, and we pass it on because of that lack of culture of the connection to food being nutrient, food being sustenance, food being life, and, food being really important in that way. And so I'm the cook. I've always liked to cook. I'm a chef. I call myself a chef because not only have I been feeding people a very long time, but they smile, they enjoy the food.
Oh, yes.
So, and now that we switched to whole food, plant-based, we don't use the term vegan because that's just a term for like, oh, I'm concerned about the animals. We're not as concerned about the animals as we are ourselves. If we start with us, we can, we can improve the rest of everything. So, yeah, I really appreciate the topic today. I really appreciate the guest. I'm the wife. I comment as blind guy, his wife, their life. But I'm the wife.
Ah, okay. The wife,
So it's
Oh,
Tanzania.
I have to change my name on the chat because sometimes when I look only at the names on the chat.
Very nice. Very nice.
Me oftentimes chatting and talking, and sometimes he'll tell me things, but most of the time it's always me, and people will say, oh, thank you, brother. You just go with it. They just see the guy, they don't see the wife, but it's okay. That's not even important,
No, but you would agree with me yesterday that I said the wife because I saw the guy, the wife, the child, and I like, wow, this name.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So this is such a lovely topic because, like I said, for people in the West, I think that's a very important thing to remember, is that we don't know. Like, we really just have information on how fun and delicious food is. There is no information, hardly ever. The only time you have the information given to you for the value of the food is when the doctors say you can no longer have this. So I've been a nurse for 25 years, for example, and when you have diverticulitis, they say, oh, you can't eat food with seeds. Well, now you start to notice the cucumber that you can't have, or some of the other things that have seeds, already in them, those smaller pieces. And before, you probably never ate those things anyway. So now the way you see food is, oh, this food is not good for me. The food that was good for you, that would have prevented diverticulitis or colitis or cancer, was never presented anyways until you develop the symptom from just consuming so much meat, consuming so much eggs and cheese and cheese and cheese. Because America, if you were to put a piece of cheese next to America, it's the same. It's like they could be twins, Cheese is like the food over here in the States. It's crazy, but it's just the way it is, and people just don't know. So I just called in to say I love this topic. Food is my favorite thing.
Oh,
Just because I
Very
like
nice.
it's just so
Very
important.
nice.
we would keep this rolling. Honestly, we have to hold a topic on this at least twice a month or thrice, because it's really important. Cheryl, you said it. I mean, even like how the wife was saying, one thing that I noted is even food is an indication of conflict in the family. Imagine your husband doesn't eat, you just know something is wrong, or the wife, or you
Hmm.
sit at the table when you guys are quarreled or something, there's a conflict at home, or even with, I mean, generally, not only the husband and wife and the kids, and they don't eat, and you know there's just something that is wrong. So food must be one of the very essential thing that binds us together. When we're happy, we enjoy the food. When we're not happy, when we're not in good terms, you don't even feel like eating. How?
You don't, but we celebrate around food. Everything, there's a celebration. You're having a birthday, someone's leaving a job, we're going to eat, we're going to go out, we're going to eat. And food is used like that. I'm not saying it's not like that in the African culture, but it is they're small. How is it that small children can tell their parents what they're not going to eat? I don't like that kind of food. How do you know you don't like that kind of food? Um,
Yes.
Food is really um is a drug. It really is a drug. Um, and it's used for everything. It's used for, it's comfort. It's comfort. Folks eat it for everything, but it's everything. It's major. It's major in the Western culture, and that people, they have so much of it. They have so much of it. They're just consuming. They have shows about people weighing 600 pounds,
Mhm.
and their lives and how they're struggling as they eat I see pizza. People have written here pizza and KFC and all of that and chicken fingers and uh, I mean, it's overwhelming. But
It's really overwhelming. Another issue in the culture. I mean, we sharing experience. Like I'm bringing it from the continental, local way, village way. What happens? I mean, do you know how dangerous or how serious? I mean, it's more than a congressional hearing for you to go and tell your mother, or the husband would complain to the mother-in-law, or the daughter-in-law would go, crying for days because the husband has not eaten his food, her food. I mean, that is the worst kind of a crime in a marriage. That could be a whole concern, not just like, he doesn't eat my food. It's going to be the whole village that will hear about that. The husband
yes,
doesn't eat even his food, doesn't eat the food. That's one of the things. Maybe the husband doesn't do something else. You won't hear about that. But the husband or the wife, he doesn't eat my food. Wow. That could cause something that is like, it's so relevant.
it's
It's not just
it's
what we think in the stomach, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And this is why it's so important to learn how to prepare and how to prepare the right foods. And you say, well, what's a right food? What's a wrong food? Normally it's the wife, the mother, that establishes what is eaten in the home. And if she
Mhm.
doesn't know, then she's going to do the best she can, and she puts out, what she knows. But 9 times out of 10, if someone is cooking for their family, they have learned from their mother. If they're, I know that sounds like, it's not modern that she learned from her mother, and that she's taking these same things, but she has to learn from somewhere. And how will she prepare for her family and her husband? The
Mhm.
husband, like you said, in the village, if somebody is one, everybody knows if your husband is going to eat somewhere else, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's a problem in America if your husband is eating somewhere else, because you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing. So you need to take a lesson. You need to come on out and get a lesson and learn. But
Yeah, because that's even one of the reasons your husband is cheating. When he doesn't eat at home or eat later. That's those are the symptoms that we're saying.
better learn how to cook. You better learn how to cook. Learn how to cook. It may not be, if folks think it's not traditional, feed your man at home. Feed your man at home. That's a whole nother show. But it's like learn how to cook and learn how to cook together. Cook together. And when he wants to surprise you and he does special things, he wants to show you what he knows how to do. Let him show him. So, build it all the way around. Build it all the way around. There was
Okay. Let us pick up this call from Australia. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, doctor. How are you?
Fine. Thank you, Daniel. You calling from Australia. Wow. What time is it out there?
Yeah. It's let me confirm the exact time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 20 to 5.
So 5 a.m. or in the evening?
Yeah, it's 20 in the morning.
In the morning. Wow. And you are up. What are you doing up? Were you cooking?
No, in fact, I was up at 3:30, and I do this because I can't afford missing your shows.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That is so, so good. So, what's your contribution today? You've been hearing Queen Sharon telling us we're talking about all the things that food does to us.
Yeah, and food does have a lot. Well, but before I go there, I don't know why my calls cannot go through.
Okay.
You can actually realize I'm using a WhatsApp call.
Yes.
Direct calls cannot go through. I don't know why.
Yes, because we put it on the WhatsApp modus. If we open the direct call, so it's going to be blocking every other caller. Yeah. That is the reason. So when you call the show, make sure you call just on WhatsApp. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand. I understand now. I've watched most of your shows, and I've always wanted to be part of the discussion, but I always try to call directly.
Mm-hmm.
It never goes through.
Oh.
But now that I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm calling from Australia, but I'm originally from Zimbabwe.
From Zimbabwe, yes.
Yeah. Despite, in addition to everything else that has been discussed, when I look at food in our own traditional way, particularly in the village, because when we talk of ourselves, our actual life is from the village. This is where we have our real selves. This is where we express ourselves. This is where, when we talk of us, when we talk of Africans, we are talking of the village setup. The moment you go into the urban setup, then that is not us. That is not our original way of doing things. And we begin to express ourselves in a different way.
Correct.
We will have moved automatically away from our original selves. Now, when we talk about food,
try to be audible a little bit.
Oh, okay. How is it now?
Yeah.
Okay. When you talk of food, the other, I didn't get the name of the other lady because
yeah, Cheryl.
The show in the middle.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She was talking about food being an expression of the situation at home. Like, for example, the husband doesn't eat your food, or the children don't eat. It's an expression of something. That probably there's one thing that somebody's complaining about. There's a message they're trying to put across there. But then it also means that eating that food is an expression of appreciation in addition to nourishing yourself. It is also an appreciation of the person who has prepared the food, an appreciation of the person who collected whatever is now being used to make the food.
Correct.
It's a holistic appreciation. It's a holistic expression of everybody's feeling. And it also represents everybody's state of mind and state of health.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I remember when we were growing up, there were two main things that were related to food. For example, in the village, usually we all eat at the same time. We don't eat separately.
Mm-hmm.
So even before someone else, even before a member of the family has not arrived from wherever they are, usually we wait for them until they come so that we all eat at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it from that aspect, what does that mean? It means you are not thinking about yourself alone. There is a sense of where is my brother, where is my sister, where is my cousin, where is this other relative, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a sense of bringing people together so that we account for one another. We also show concern of what if you yourself cannot eat because your brother is not there. We are saying I have to put my brother first before I put my own self. You are saying I myself will not eat until my brother also eats. So it is an expression of selflessness, which is what we are as Africans.
Mm-hmm.
That aspect. At the same time, when we all come together at the same time and sit, what happens after the meal? What do we do after the meal? You don't eat and then go away straight away.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? After eating, we sometimes sit and spend some time together. And if there are any issues, they are normally discussed after the meal when people are just relaxing when they don't. I'm talking of mainly supper.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are issues to be discussed, this is the time when they are discussed between meal and before bed. Okay, but remember initially I said we waited for everyone else to come. And after waiting for everyone else to come, then we now discuss issues. It also means everybody is present or issues are discussed in everybody's presence.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no backbiting, there's no backstabbing. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Because things are discussed in everybody's presence. Besides that, it also means everybody is given the chance either to contribute or to defend themselves if their issues are arising in a particular community, in a particular family, in a particular setup. Is it? So if matters are discussed openly in the presence of everyone else, then it means there are no hidden agendas about one another. There is no like I said before, this idea of backbiting, backstabbing, and all that, because issues are discussed in the presence of everyone else. It also means everybody else is also aware of issues pertaining to that particular family or settlement. So food became very, very important.
Wow.
And remember, food always came from the same central source, and we also ate in the same place, in the same house, in the same hut. You know, so food actually, besides just feeding our bodies, it had a hell lot. It had a hell lot of other meanings to it as well. The other thing that came along with food as well is, remember, in any community, discipline is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? And where do we see greatest importance of discipline? It is in the army, in the military. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
And in the military, how is discipline instilled? How do we instill discipline in the army? You respect hierarchy, you respect authority. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody above you is your authority, regardless of age, regardless of anything. There is no other consideration in the military as to who do you get your orders from and what does it mean when that one above you gives you the order. But now in the African setup, we don't have ranks. Well, ranks are there, but there's also the aspect of age, you know, where anybody who is older
senior,
deserves anybody who is senior to you, yes, like you correctly say, they deserve that respect, and you look up to them. They are your role models. They are your seniors, but they are your advisors as well. They are both role models and the role advisors. But this also used to reflect in the food setup, like sometimes who eats first, who eats last, and all that. So it means, remember, you eat every day, right? And by eating every day, it means if you follow the actual African tradition where you respect your elders, and this is also reflected in the pattern of eating, in the way people eat, in how food is distributed, and everything else. It means every single day you are also reminded who is your elder, who is younger than you. So people were taught to be to submit to your seniors, to your elders, which means discipline was also instilled right there on the table on a daily basis. And this is why people in the rural areas, they are considered to be passive, like people who go along with anything. No, they're not passive. They make collective decisions advised by the elders, advised by those that are wiser. So they make decisions as a collective because, like I said before, everything is discussed openly in the presence of everyone else. And you also have to put into consideration everyone's interest. And this is expressed in the food itself that we're talking about.
Okay.
So food was not just a way of nourishing our bodies. It had a lot more of other things that also came along with it.
Okay.
But now all this has been watered down as we now follow other cultures, which has taken us away from our culture, and food no longer has any meaning now, and the table no longer has any meaning now. That's why people do all sorts of things. But if we go back to our original selves, food was not just food, but it had a lot of meanings in it as well.
Wow. Thank you very much, brother. I mean, we need to get you on this conversation in the next series. Thank you very much.
No, I used to try all along. Most of your series I used to try, but I used to use to try and call directly.
All right.
So now I just said, oh no, let me just try
Okay. Now you know it, right? So calling tomorrow, we have very, very other. I mean, the whole time now we're open for this season. Okay. Thank you very much, and our greetings and regards out there in the Australia.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Wow, Cheryl, look at where you're bringing people to call.
I see that. But you know what? I like this Soto warrior. This person said, the village is us, our expression. The village is our origin, our soul. It is our Ubuntu, our state of mind. The village is our state of health. Wow. That's good. That's good. Thank you. And also somebody said that this discipline is important. It is important. It is like when you decide, oh, I need to lose weight, or I'm just not eating right. The discipline is that to eat only when you're hungry. After you drink the glass of water, I feel a little something. Only eat when you're hungry. Most of the time, we're not hungry. We're just like habit. We're bored. And we're eating everything that we're not supposed to. When we sit down and we have a meal, we have a meal. Like that custom. It was a custom, like you was talked about culture, and then we would all be together. And that the young lady that spoke before, that was the nurse, she said, she still has her family come and eat at a communal bowl, even though their children are teenagers. So important. It's so important who you eat with. because a lot of us, we have decided to be alone and we don't eat with anyone. We eat by ourselves. So it's not, you know, it's not special. It's that, but you have to make it special and make that meal count. You know, we're so used to, oh, I don't have a family. I'm out here. But you have to make it special. You have to make it ceremonial. Sit down. Don't eat over the sink. Sit down. Have a nice plate. You know, have some nice lighting and you know, all of that. And because you prepare it, you know, you know what's in it. You know what's
Mhm.
in your food. Another person that was on here, they said that when you cook your own food, you know exactly what's in it. You know exactly what's in it, what was put in it, how it was prepared, where it was purchased. You don't have to worry about anybody that had bad feelings that day, because you know what, that affects your food too. If
Mhm.
that person's not feeling right and they're just putting it together, well, it comes through in the food. I know a lot of folks will say, oh no, that's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it
Right.
is.
All right. We're taking this other call. The conversation is so interesting. This topic,
Yes.
food. Thank you for being on the show. What did you just cook today?
I cook every day, Dr. Susan, and I love your show so much. I just got to talk about one thing. I think you guys, I am total opposition to the West. That's just who I am. I'm an
Yes.
African to my heart. And I think you guys don't realize that there's an important piece about cooking, food, and family that is dismissed in the West.
Mhm.
Here in the West, we're taught as men that cooking, being in the kitchen, is women's work.
Mhm.
That
That's
there, just knowing that in itself, it breaks down the relationships.
Correct.
Through the cooking, through the food, you get to know me. You get to know my dislikes. You get to know what I like and when I don't like it, how I would like it, in every shape of who I am. So I think people don't understand it's deeper than that.
Mhm.
When all the responsibilities of cooking is just placed on the woman, that placed her where she's here in the West, she's burnt out. So what do? We then turn to eating all the fast food, all this junk, all this garbage. That leaves her being the matriarch of all this foolishness that we have to deal with here in the West again. And then the second part of that is, if you think about it even more, heart disease
Mhm.
for African American women is the number one killer. So when you take women with all the responsibility, the man's not helping in the house cooking and doing the responsibility, and we feminize cooking, we have a total breakdown from feeding the very temples that we're supposed to be living in and worshiping the Creator with. So when we get to the point of realizing that there is no role when it comes down to being healthy,
true.
we're all responsible for
Absolutely.
feeding one another,
Mhm.
not in just nutrition, but spiritually as well. And that's just the point I want to make. I just want you to know that, we got to get away from making these role stratification when it comes down to cooking. We as brothers have to understand it is our responsibility
Right.
to feed our families, not in just the food that we consume. And it really does start, they say the heart of the home is in the kitchen. It is the truth. It starts there.
Correct.
But that's all I wanted to say. You guys have a great day, and I love the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. This
Bringing
is
it all together. That was great. That was
wow.
great. Even in the industry, as a working chef, that it's predominantly men, that in professionally it's men, and it's women that have a hard time getting into the profession.
Mhm.
um but that has changed over the years. But when I came in, it wasn't very many women that were in charge of the kitchen. We were assistants. We were either admin, We took care of that, or we were just preppers. We weren't like running kitchens, nowhere
Mhm.
near. And we weren't even second in charge in the kitchen. But now that's changed. But in our homes, well, it should be a family affair. It should be. And I think that our roles are going back to traditional African tradition and
Mhm.
being incorporated, because we're really learning. Actually, we're learning how to get back to that. We didn't
Mhm.
really, our family roles were destroyed. Our families were, what we used to have, even in the early times, in the slave times, they were still together. But then after that, once we came up, we were being pulled apart. Our family structure was pulled apart. So now, as we try to get back to that, we have to learn something that we didn't see much of. And so
Mhm.
the ones that learn, they have to incorporate that. And I think we welcome that. It doesn't have to fall on the woman's shoulders, but if you have to find that king that thinks that way and can also help perpetuate that. So
Mhm.
it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. We're really getting there. We're getting there. Food is just so, yes, one of the elements that should connect us spiritually, and we're getting all the vibes and everywhere it's the same. One last point, before we round up into the show. Food in an African context is one of the biggest symbols of hospitality, particularly. I mean, when we talk about the African, we just, like we say, we focus in the village, because that's the real thing, that's the real Africa. You won't get it
Yes.
anywhere, and
Right.
you cannot copy it. You can't. You have to be in the village, and anything that you know, you will leave it there. So, like, everybody that comes home is greeted and saluted, and they have to eat. This an African is really, an African mother is angry if you don't accept food,
Yes.
and don't come when you want to visit him and then you've already eaten. So that's like disrespect, like, oh, so you think
Total.
it's gonna leave you a hunger, and stuff like that. And then the second point is that at any point in time, it become even a thing. If there were 110 commandments, the 11th commandment in the African kitchen for an African mother is food should always be at home. Because even when we were growing up, my grandmother used to say, and my mom, they said it to today, oh, you don't know when God is going to appear. And when he appears and there's no food, so at every point in time when we're eating, we have to eat and leave a little, because there's a God that has to come and eat.
Yes.
That how spiritually connected we attach food to some kind of values. But how here in the West, that connection is not there. You even need to call before you come, and nobody's even expecting you. And even if you come, particularly in Germany, you give water, and that your neighbor would bring back the water to you. Like, no, you just have to. And then during ceremonies, like you say, celebrations, weddings, or traditional marriage, there has to be a particular food to be
It's
accepted
important.
in this procedure. There has to
It's
be some food element must be there. If those elements are not there, no, it can that marriage will not go ahead. You
no.
see that attachment to it, and they even consult food for that marriage. Traditional rituals, they would do some kind of food concoction, and they tell you whether that marriage will last or not. Last or not, or you both
Wow.
are, you are a match. And during death ceremonies also, if there is a cry die, like we call a death celebration or anything, from the in-laws, they have to bring some particular food. If that
Yes.
food is not, they're not going to cry that person well. So it means like you're owing something. So these are all kind of a whole breach of what food does to us. Food to an African is actually spirituality, is life, it's a way of life, it's
Yes.
love, like you said, is healing, is used to solve conflict or to identify where there's a problem. So food is not just I'm hungry, like, or I need to just eat.
Yeah. It's feeding the soul, and also is key that he said food is life. Um, it sustains us, but it also it grows us, it nurtures us. um, and how it's prepared, how it's harvested. She also, the other lady said, she also said something about, when they talk about vegan and it's about the treating of the animals and everything. Um, People treat their animals very well, and the animals know what they're for. And and so, you know, everything is tied in. Everything is tied in. We're tied into our food, the energy that's there from it, the energy that it gives us. Um, as we gather to consume it, happy times, we eat at funerals too. We eat at funerals, we eat at weddings, we eat when that blessed child is born. We eat, but all the food is prepared so with such detail. They want everyone to share in the happiness. That's what food, that's what food is for. It's that feed our souls as well as to nurture our bodies. And for those who prepare it, it's prepared with love,
Mhm.
as it should be, as it should be. So,
Wow.
and it's key. It's key to all our existence.
Mhm.
This was
Yes.
good.
Yes, this is very good. I love this topic, and I like all of us that are here and that have contributed in one way or the other. Now we know what actually food is. Like, our queen was just telling us food, the knowledge of food is just more than how it tastes and that we are hungry to eat the food. But food to us as African people is just something so special, and we take it to heart. So, like, Queen Cheryl, what was that tip that you said? If you want to keep your man, do what?
You better learn how to cook. You better learn how to cook. You better learn how to cook. You
And the
come and
man
sit at the feet of the elders and learn how to cook.
learn how to cook.
Keep
I
your
like
man at
it.
home because your man will go and eat in someone else's kitchen. And that's the last thing you need. Keep your man at home.
Yeah, vice versa, like we're saying, a lot of women just want to sit one day and see their kings, prepare something. We just want to taste something else that is not made with tomato and ginger, garlic, petroleum,
Yes.
something because it's
Yes.
natural.
Yes.
No.
So learn something else. Learn something together. I mean, you can go out. You can go out, like you were saying tonight, to go to restaurants and everything. You go out for restaurants for ideas, different
Mhm.
ideas, and something that is out of your tradition. Sometimes you just need a little something different and see if that's available, and you make it, but make it healthy.
Mhm.
Make it healthy. Um, all the excess sugar and flour and everything. Man, I can teach you how to make it plant-based so that it'll mean something. And it's not just pretty, but it's delicious too. And it's good for us. It is good for us, not
Wow.
just good to us.
Oh,
It's good
goodness.
for us.
Ha, Queen Shara, we can't wait to have you here when you packet that book. But apart from that, you're a coach. How can we reach you? Like you're saying, oh, I need to pick this last one because, it's like in America, a lot of people are just getting off work now. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Are you guys? Yeah, I'm enjoying the show.
Yeah, yeah, we're live.
Yeah. All right. I wanted to add something to it. One thing that's good about families coming together and eating, especially if you got kids, because you know how you said it takes a village to raise children.
Hmm.
Well, if the children's friends come by, like that's a good opportunity to help steer them in the right direction. If
Hmm.
they're like them acting out outside or something, or they had a bad day in school, and they come over and play, and you got food there, you share with the kids' friends, but at the same time, that's a good opportunity to help, keep the kids on the right track, even though they might not be ours, but still a good opportunity for us to share that love.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's it. Just one thing I wanted to add to the equation, add my contribution.
Which is very complete. Cheryl, you got that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
People, our children need to see from examples. The examples are so far and few. Um, but if they see it in your home, then they see that, oh, this is how this is supposed to be. I see someone that's cooking. I see a man that's cooking. Your father cooks? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, your mother sits here. A lot of families don't have the two parents, and they don't see that. They don't see everybody sitting at the table. So
Mhm.
examples like that is, our children need to see that. Our young boys need to see that. Um, I More examples like that, the better for the next generation. So the more, the better. Better the
Wow.
example. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, bro. That, yeah, that was rounding up the conversation. But what are we saying? Like we say, if we want our men to cook in the future for their wives, hey, we women, we have to engage our boys growing up to be in the kitchen with their sister.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one last or just conclude this show, and we would be ready to go for today. Remind us again, give us some key points to take home.
The key points is to well, we were talking about so many, but I'm gonna go back to this. It's the I had wrote down a few here. I was like, you know what? Let's go back to the basics and eat your DNA. Um, go back to your basic diet. If your diet is not all this processed food,
Mhm.
um, eat to nourish your body, um, your mind, your soul, your spirit. It's a 360 wellness approach. It's not just what you put in your belly, it's what you feed your mind, it's what you allow in your soul, on your plate, so to speak. Um, until you find out what's eating you, you really won't figure out why you eat. When you're stressed, you have all these issues. That means you're absorbing too much of the outside, and you have lost connection. You're not connected to anything anymore. You're just out there, and you're just randomly feeding yourself whatever. It's not just food. It's um, what we allow, the people that we're around,
Mhm.
the social media, and all of that. So you have to
Mhm.
be careful what you feed your mind as well as what you feed your body, and what you listen to, and what you feed your soul. Um, and it's a 360. It's a roundabout approach. It's mind, body, and soul. Um, uh, how we take care of this body, this miracle. I go like this so you can see the whole, this
Mhm.
miracle. Um, and we must care for the melanin,
Mhm.
um, inside and out. Um, Spiritually,
Mhm.
we have to get quiet, to listen, to ground ourselves so that we can hear. The message is there, the answers are there. You just got to get quiet. Stop asking. Stop asking. For once, just get quiet so you can hear. When we're praying, we're all, oh, please help. Get quiet, center, ground yourself so that you can receive, so you can hear what's for you, hear your purpose, hear what you need that to feed yourself. Get quiet,
Mhm.
check in with yourself, learn how to feed yourself. I just that I think those are the things. A few we talked about so much. I have so many notes here, but clean up your diet. Clean up your diet. Eat as clean as possible. When I say clean, it's not processed. It's not in a package. Um, don't cook your vegetables so much that you cook the color out of them, because you don't cook the vitamins out of them. Just heat them up just a little bit, and a little seasoned salt made with sea salt. Sea salt. It'll it'll make the flavors in your food burst. Sea salt. Pepper, cracked pepper, brings everything out. And on fresh herbs if you can, just to give yourself a little taste, a little added something, but always make that sure, make each bite count, make it nutrient dense. Make sure that what you're eating has the maximum, this is maximum density of flavor, vitamins, nutrients in this. I can go more, but you know what?
Okay,
That's a whole other thing. So call me
that's
back.
good. That's good. We picked it, and this video is gonna stay here for those that could not join, and they would continue. It was just a production for tonight, and yes, we thank you so very much for your time. And yeah, I know how much you sacrifice to be here, being at work and doing that for us. We appreciate you so much. And Cheryl, we would like to have you back on the show because I think this topic is just too elaborate to just work on it or to just deal with it in just 2 hours or so. I think it's something that we need to continuously talk about it. Like we're saying, very soon we're going to enter into the food types. What type of tubers do we have, and where are we getting our food? So yeah. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we see yourself, very soon again, Cheryl.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and,
you.
and stay healthy.
You
Anyway, you,
too.
you eat
You too.
healthy, so.
I'll try. I try all the time. Same
Yeah.
to you all. Um,
Okay.
you had asked before. I just have my email.
Yes.
It's CMOS2010 @gmail. So I take all my, questions. If you have questions about, you want to talk about what you're eating, if you have questions about, CMOS, we can talk about CMOS, how important it is. And, if you have questions about any of the things that you have out there, you can hit me up there. And on my Instagram is always just a nice little inspirational every day. So it's just CMOS
CM.
2K16
Okay. CMOS2K16.
K16.
Okay.
And you'll see CL Moses, and that's me. So come on out, ask me questions. If you need some help, you're starting something, I don't mind. I'll ask you questions. I'm still working on all of that. And I'm going to finish this book before the end of December because I have to get it to the printers and
Okay.
make an e-product. So,
All right.
so thank you so
Okay.
much again. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
Queen Kwana. Kwana.
Yes, yes, Queen Kwana. She is the database and putting the programs together with Naisha and
Yes,
Patrick Rim out there on the continent, and everything is just working perfectly. Thank you so much,
yes.
Cheryl.
Thank you
And
so
for
much,
those of
Doctor.
you, yeah, those of you that didn't get the complete address or anything, I mean, I have her contact. If you want to talk to her on WhatsApp or like we connect here, please drop a message on our WhatsApp number and we would forward it to her. If you want to get in contact, in touch, and yes, get the melanin direct from the source. Okay. Right. So that is it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Yeah. So that was Queen Cheryl Moses on the knowledge of our spirituality and consciousness, of course, through food, and live a healthier life. What you eat is what you are. We've been hearing all that. Tomorrow we're gonna get a very big guest. Don't miss it. Don't miss this guest tomorrow. It's everything. One of those big shots. We can say we're Africans and da 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 da, but we all know that there's some difference. People that have studied, people that have done a lot of things, that have put this passion that we're starting today for long, and they have too much experience. One of them is Reverend Phillips Shock Matthews. I mean, I'm calling her YouTube name Philip Shocks Mario, and he is the big shot of the times. I mean, he's doing his talk shows out there, and I always dream to just listen to him one day. I watch his videos. He's so powerful. I don't even know how to start to describe him. I don't know it. You need to find out for yourself. I will not just even tell you. I know most of you are going to go to YouTube now and Google, and not this one. It's not just available anywhere. you know. But he is gonna be here. He found time to be with us tomorrow. And that time, please let's not miss it because it's all about everything. Just everything that you want to know, he knows it. Do you know how they call him? And even what the topic of the conversation is, the Marcus Garvey's of our time. Phillips Shock Matthew is the Marcus Garvey's of our time. So, I mean, it says it all. Do I need to say something else? And really, that's one of the point that we know the transition from our ancestors, or some people call it reincarnation, is real. Because if Professor Kaba, if Professor James Small, if all these big shots out there, have been a part of the reverend. I don't know whether the reverend is because he was a reverend pastor or whatever, but I want us to discover the Marcus Garvey of our time. So be here tomorrow and let us get the conversation going. Thank you very much. I wish you a good night, and we see ourselves tomorrow again. And one more thing, we ought to have had Juliet Rayan, but shortly, that's why Cheryl was sitting on for her. For those of you that already had that flyer, Juliet Rayan is going to be with us on Monday because she just got an emergency, and that's why we had to compensate the show today with Cheryl. And Cheryl just, wow, Spotly came on. So on Sunday, we're going to stream with a special sister also from the Caribbean. She has a very special news for us. And Saturday, we have another big shot. I don't want to open up that to you now. I don't want to give you too much, okay? Too much adrenaline, too much melanin. So we see ourselves tomorrow. You guys sleep well and stay safe. Don't forget, what you eat is more than just what you see in the plate. So let's make it an attitude to keep it healthier in every aspect. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye bye.